Hello, party people. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I don't think it's a secret to anyone that life can be really challenging. It can be a really hard world out here, but what makes it much harder or much easier is the people we choose to surround ourselves with. So, in this particular video, I want to address an experience, not a particular experience that I've had, but I have had this experience with people where you're trying to communicate with people who lack empathy. Empathy is the ability for someone to walk a mile in your shoes or for you to comprehend and empathize with what another person is going through. Some people just don't have that ability. Some people are very empathetic. Um, some people are not empathetic at all, and some are empathetic to a fault. So, wherever you lie on that spectrum between super empathetic, like getting compassion fatigue, or being in the middle where you're empathetic, but you kind of just, it is what it is, or just being someone who doesn't have any empathy at all. So we're talking about people who are communicating their feelings or their boundaries or anything to someone who's on the low end of the spectrum where they just do not have empathy. So this could be a family member, a friend, it could be a coworker. A lot of people don't have empathy. So here's some of my experience and what we can do about it. I don't have perfect advice, but I have some advice. So let's see how this goes. So these people, you can communicate with them so well. You can use the right words. You could say things perfectly. You could have a tear shedding down your face so that they know that you're upset. You can tell them, I just need your support. I just need your love. You could say, this is why I need your love. This is why I need this particular thing. This is why I have this boundary. And their ability to walk a mile in your shoes is still completely limited. You could say all the right things. Oftentimes we think about I statements. They'll say, so like a therapist might tell you to use I statements, saying, not you did this, but I feel like when this happened, I felt betrayed. But the thing is, if they lack empathy, telling them you feel betrayed doesn't really mean anything to them. Because unless it happened to them, they don't know what betrayal means. Unless it's something that they're personally experiencing right now, they can't empathize. So you could tell them all the right things. You could say, I feel. You could say, I just need. You could do all the communication strategies, and they're not going to get it. And if they do get it, they're going to ignore it because their feelings have to be more important than your feelings in that moment. It's hard because we want to explain ourselves to our loved ones, but in a way, you shouldn't communicate. You shouldn't continue to explain yourself to someone who is committed and dedicated to misunderstanding what you're saying. Plenty of people out there. You ever talk to someone and you're like, no matter what I say, it isn't right. No matter what I do, it isn't right. That's a terribly hopeless feeling. And it's because you're with the wrong people a lot of the times, even if they're friends and family. A lot of the times it's because they're not valuing what you say and they're not empathizing with what you say. So it doesn't matter how you say it or what you say, you're still on your own, it feels. You feel like you're talking to a wall. You feel like you're talking to a rock. You're like, I would rather talk to a freaking pebble on the sidewalk than talk to this person because they're not hearing me. I'm staring at a blank wall. They could be stonewalling you. They could be ignoring you. Like stonewalling is like ignoring. They could use it as a tool to, when you're trying to communicate, they'll just shut down. I've been stonewalled. I was stonewalled way too many times in my past. And I can tell you, silent treatment, stonewalling, that's unempathetic and it makes it hard for you to communicate. Even if you communicate properly, even if you communicate with perfect words, they're dedicated to misunderstanding you and they don't want to hear it. So those are the kind of people that you don't want to surround yourself with. And if you are in a situation, I would seek professional counseling because you don't want to live like that. Robin Williams committed suicide, unfortunately, the great actor. And one of the things that he said is, I used to, and I empathize with this throughout my entire past marriage, but he said, I used to think the worst thing in the world was being alone, but I now realize that the worst thing is not being alone, but being with people and still feeling like you're alone. It's a little paraphrase. It's a little bit different how he said it, but If you're in a room full of people and you feel like they're not hearing you, that can be a very difficult situation. So you might just be in the wrong room with the wrong people. It doesn't mean that you're less valuable. Your value is impenetrable. Your value is preserved. Your value is inherent to you. Like, it just is true. So it kind of can be hard when you're around people who make you feel like you're alone because they're not empathizing with you. You could tell them all the right words and it doesn't matter. So what you try to do, you try to rephrase things, you try to repeat things, you try to re-emphasize and reiterate and do it over and over again until they understand you, because all you want is to be understood, but they don't get it. So what do? Sometimes people lack empathy in a non-toxic way. Like, it's just not a big character trait for them. So like people who are trying very hard, but they're just not aware. That's one thing. It's very different if someone's just like let's just say you have a dad. He's kind of old school, raised a long time ago when there was less mental health conversations, when there was suck it up and be a man. Well, that man, he may be lacking empathy, but is he a bad person? Probably not. If it's more of just like he tries, we'll use the comparison of like a religious dad with a gay son. I saw a video about that shortly ago, and it was like, yeah, they disagreed, and yeah, the dad had different opinions, but he's trying really hard to empathize with his son. So you may be able to explain to those good people through logic. You may be able to logically communicate with those people. You can't do it with everyone. Not everyone's equipped for that. Not everyone's smart like that. Not everyone's putting in effort. You got to decide who those people are. If you're in a situation where you feel absolutely alone and flustered and angry and sad and depressed and hopeless and suicidal, or any of those feelings, seeking a support system through friends, family, and counselors, it's very important. I was in situations where I've never been suicidal per se, but the closest I probably have ever gotten would be in times where I was trying to love people who lacked empathy for me, because that's a very heartbreaking experience. So I encourage you to get out of those situations, to set boundaries in those relationships, or just to leave the relationship altogether, depending on who it is and what the circumstances are. I don't tell you to cut people off. That's your decision to make. I don't tell you to go see a counselor. That's your decision to make. But what I will say is, if you feel alone, if you feel unloved, if you feel like somebody doesn't have empathy for you, that's hard. And I don't know how maintainable that is over a long period of time, because it could destroy you in a very short period of time. It could take away your self-esteem, your self-worth, and you're worth more than that. Just by inherently being a human, you are worth more than people treating you like you don't matter, because you do matter. You do matter. It's just a fact. I'm no nihilist, I don't believe that everything's just useless and it doesn't matter, and that there's nothing going on, and everything's inherently not good, not bad. I believe in good and bad. I believe in a gray area, but I also believe in black and white, and I will tell you, it's very much black and white that every person has value. And what you do with that value determines if you live a happy life. So keep pushing through. You're not alone. You're not alone. You'll find someone who cares about you. There are people out there with empathy. I know when I met my current fiance that I felt empathy for a very, probably more than I've ever felt it before. And there are people out there like that. So just keep pushing in the right direction. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Bye.